to another edition of Season 2 of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We're documenting the journey of amazing entrepreneurs, amazing local entrepreneurs, like my new best friend, David Pickron from Crimshield. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
I'm doing phenomenal.
Awesome.
I met you last week at an OSBA event. We were both on a panel.
Right.
It was terrific. It was kind of the end of the day. It was Cinco de Mayo, as a matter of fact.
Had
And
a
I
great
think
time.
it was a great time. Everybody's ready to go have their margaritas,
Yeah.
and there we are. We're just wrapping it up with the audience and everything else.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about Crimpshield. And you have, I mean, you're an entrepreneur, just phenomenal entrepreneur who's got other businesses in addition to Crimpshield. So tell us a little bit more.
Well, let's just talk about the ASBA day, right? I loved being there because, you know, as an entrepreneur,
Yep.
I think we all need to kind of stick together, and we all kind of need to help each other. You know, I mean, if you look at the statistics, you know, 37% of kids in the 80s were getting out of college and going to be entrepreneurs, and now that's right around 13 or 15% today. So we're kind of losing some of our entrepreneurs. It just seems harder and harder. So I love to go to those ASBAs. I love to help other entrepreneurs, and it's just something that I feel like I need to do because I feel like I was helped when I was younger, first getting going and started.
Next time our membership for OSBA gets renewed, we're going to send him a copy of this day. We're getting a little shout out for free. But anyway,
absolutely.
but it was a terrific
yeah.
time.
But the point is I think if people are watching this and you are a new entrepreneur, an old entrepreneur, we have kind of a responsibility to help each other. So I appreciate this conversation we're having. And but you know, Crimpshield is a company that does background investigations, and it certifies people as being crime free. I mean, when we're in a world of relationships, you know, where we constantly, whether it's business or personal, we sometimes want to know, you know, who really is the other person and what are they about. And oftentimes, you know, anybody can put up a good front and you really don't know people's intentions. And so background checks are becoming just a common word that people are running left and right. And so we kind of got into that business and about 20 years ago, kind of grew up with the internet with it, and do some large companies and also help smaller groups and organizations. A lot of volunteer organizations use us as they hire their volunteers. But it's fun because we're just helping create good relationships from the start.
David, you do this just in Arizona or nationwide?
It's nationwide.
It's nationwide. So it's a nationwide service.
Yeah, it needs to be nationwide to do a background. People come from all over, every state, and we need to be able to go out and track their history.
Let me ask you this. So you started this about 20 years ago. Now, what did you do before then? I mean,
I came right out of college as an entrepreneur. My senior year of college, my grandpa worked for Garrett, which was bought by Honeywell, for 30 years as an engineer, and walked into work one day and got a pink slip at about 52 years old. You know, these companies at that point wanted to hire younger engineers, more educated, you know, from the schools, and it really put him into a depression. And I thought when I was in my senior year of college, I said, you know, if there's ever going to be a pink slip delivered to me, I'm going to deliver it to myself, right? And I'm going to be in charge of it. And that whole situation really got me thinking of, you know, do I want to really invest my life into someone else's company, or do I want to spend my time and my energy building something, you know, that I wanted to do? And so I went on that journey.
So based on the experience that you saw firsthand, and your desire, I mean, there's always some kind of fire, something that motivates you, right?
Right.
To become an entrepreneur, and then you saw the need for Crimshield.
It didn't start with Crimpshield.
Okay.
What it started with was my senior year of college. I went to my counselor and I said, I can't take college anymore. I honestly, I was not a good college student. I did not like it.
But this is your senior year, though.
Yeah, I know. And I told her, I said, listen, I'm dropping out of college one semester shy because I had about 24 hours left and I just couldn't do 2 more semesters.
Oh, man.
So I quit my job. I said, listen, I got special permission to take 24 hours. I took some independent studies. But to make a living, to pay the bills, because I paid for my own college, I came down. I was in NAU in Flagstaff. I came down to Phoenix and I served evictions for apartment communities. When people didn't pay their rent, they needed a guy to go around, and I was that guy on Saturdays and Sundays. And
so
you
became a process server.
I became a process server, right? Well, you know, my professors and my counselors up there would say, hey, there's big job opportunities coming up here, big fairs, you know, who'd you put your applications in with? And I said, oh, I've already got my future figured out. I've become a process server, and I've seen there's not a lot of competition, and I can take some technology, and I can take some things. And they looked at me and said, you're going to be a process server? And I said, you know, not for long. That'll be maybe the product, but I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and eventually I'm going to own the business and hire my process servers, right? That's so when I'm 22 years old, that's how it all gets started for me.
They looked at it like most people do, not from, they look at what you were doing, not so much from the prism that, wow, he is really an entrepreneurial guy.
Right.
He's taking a great risk,
Right.
and he's going on his own. But
Right.
they rather so, wow, that's so seedy, maybe.
Absolutely.
Right?
They think,
Why
you
do
go
you-
to college to learn to go work for somebody, and that's what they
Why
think
don't you become a
success is.
consultant or a manager or something?
And that's what they think,
Wow. Okay.
But you go back to waste management. If anybody studied Wayne Huizinga, I had one garbage truck out of Florida, and now, to me, when entrepreneurs tell me, I want to be an entrepreneur, here's my product, I'm going to be a pest control, a plumber. I don't care what the product is, because eventually, if you're a good entrepreneur, you're not doing any of that anyways. You're managing, you're marketing, right? So it doesn't matter what your product is. If you want to go work for yourself, man, go do something you really like and just leverage it.
Or like Wayne Huizinga, who wound up owning the Dolphins,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Waste management sold it. It's
yeah,
huge.
exactly. And so that's what you do. So that is really what motivated you, is the fact that you didn't want to be in a position that if anybody serving you any pink slip, or didn't want to be dependent upon somebody else of your future, essentially. And you decided to embark on your own.
I wanted to go see my kids' games when they came. I wanted to be at certain vacations when I wanted to go on vacation. I wanted the freedom, too, that comes with being your own boss.
Right.
And so there's a lot of factors, and I think part of it was my personality. I don't know that you really can I think you can maybe learn to be an entrepreneur, but I think for some people it is just bred
There's something
in their blood, right?
There's something. When did you know, and you started this journey, being a process server, and then at some point in time you figure, hey, I'm going to own a process server company that I'm going to hire somebody. At which point did you know you were into something? Because when you start, it's really difficult to see the future sometimes, but there must have been a point during that early stage where there was kind of an aha moment, or an epiphany, or something that occurred, an event that occurred that says, I think I'm onto something.
Well, that was in my senior year of college. Here I'm going up to NAU, I'm going to these boring classes for me all day. I'm coming down here, and I'm working, and I'm counting money. And the epiphany moment for me was this was an industry that has been untapped. It wasn't something that had been something that'd be too hard, and I knew if I just brought some integrity to it, and it was really an industry that was a bunch of old guys that were retired, and they were running their accounting off of their check registers and didn't even know to use accounting software, and it was just an untapped industry, and I enjoyed it. It was freedom. It was great. And what ended up happening with me is I ended up, with a lot of people's help. I don't want to say me, okay? Because there's a lot of people along the way and a lot of breaks that I did get. But I ended up building the biggest process serving company in Arizona for evictions in apartment communities. So they then start coming to me and saying, hey, people are getting evicted out of this apartment community, and they're moving right next door into mine, and we haven't done any kind of screening. We really don't know who these people are. So you're a private investigator. You can get access to credit bureaus, and you have the biggest eviction database, and that's what started in the late 90s, the background checks and the tenant screening, and then clients started hiring me as their process server to do other services, and that's when an entrepreneur says, hey, I've got something here. Okay. Right? And then the second company starts to form, and then eventually in 2006 I get assaulted by my landscaper in the side of my house, and he had a chainsaw cutting some trees, high on crystal meth. Got out of prison about 6 months prior. I didn't know that. And I came out one morning and said hi to him, and he said, I'm raising your rates. And I said, what are you going to raise my rates to? And the conversation went real south from there. He says, that means you're not going with me, you cheap, blah, blah, blah. And he started, so I said, we had a tough conversation. I said, I'm not interested, so get off my property right now. I'm pretty brave to have a guy with a chainsaw in his hand right there, but at some point I knew this guy does not need to be around my family. I got my family out, and I decided I was so bugged because I was doing these backgrounds for these apartment communities that I couldn't even protect my own family, right? So this guy didn't break in my back window. He didn't break in, and I invited him into my home to do some service for me, and I put my own family at risk when I simply had the resources to go check his background and see I probably didn't want him around my family. And so then I started Crimpshield, which is more of the employment contractor background, where you get a background on yourself, and then you can show the whole world you know, that you have a clean history.
You know what, David, this is Friday the 13th, by the way, and we're talking about chainsaws and things and everything else. So very, very apropos, brother. I mean, I'm glad you bring it.
That's so true. Yeah. So there's the journey.
There's a journey.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, though, I mean, this is about your journey, and this is about lessons that you've learned along the way. What in this journey, what for you personally has been the most challenging thing that you can tell the world? Say, look, I have many challenges that I faced, but if I had to do it all over again, and if I had to give somebody advice that is coming through the ranks, avoid this one in particular, what would that be?
For me, my family's always been super important to me, but sometimes I have let my time, my thoughts, make my business a priority sometimes, maybe when I shouldn't. And I learned a while ago to drop a lot of things and just really spend time with your family, especially if you have kids. They grow up so fast. And so it's just really balancing your time. I'm a project-driven guy. I don't sleep from like 3 to 6 in the morning. I'm constantly just making up stuff. My teams can't keep up with my ideas a lot of times, you know. And a lot of times, you know, 9 out of 10 ideas I just have an idea and then we never do anything with it. But it was a good idea to have at the moment. And so, you know, I love the creativity and I love the focus and the time, but you need to have a balance in your life for sure. You know, but I love the new entrepreneur that doesn't have any money coming in and they're just scrapping and they get to, you know, kind of that hump where, okay, I'm kind of making it now. Right. They've got to learn to balance their lives for sure.
So it's all about balance? For
me it is, yeah, it's all about balance. I haven't always been there.
What's the best advice you ever got?
Man, I've gotten a lot of good advice with a lot of good people. You know, I like to think I'm a hard worker and that I'm creative and I like that, but I also, you know, it's not all about me, right? It's about finding success with people and with teams, with connections. If you think you're all that great, you won't get very far. So probably some of the best advice I ever got was, you know, just try not to think you're all that great, because there's a higher being and there's a lot of people that are really helping you. If I look at my journey, you know, I've had a lot of people, you know, give a handout. And I think we all get handouts. It's whether we take advantage of those opportunities, right? And I meet a lot of people like, oh, no one's ever helped me. I can promise you along the way you've been helped. You just haven't really seen it or taken advantage of it. And so, you know, just don't get too high on yourself, really.
Friday the 13th with, I was going to say with Freddy Krueger, but that's not quite. You were assaulted by a Freddy Krueger, brother.
Yeah.
Well, we're very thankful that you came over and gave us this piece of advice. You're just an incredible entrepreneur. Took advantage of a niche that you saw and just expanded it from there. And sometimes you take a little bit of luck and a little bit of it. You got to be able to recognize those opportunities.
You do. And you know, if you have an idea, you might find that your plan A turns into a plan B, turns into a plan C. And I know many entrepreneurs that start out with an idea, they talk to somebody, they massage it, they see what's available in the market. And so, you know, don't give up. Don't give up.
Yeah, right.
Just keep on, just keep on plugging away and you'll find success for sure.
Best advice from David, my new BFF, my best friend.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate it, man. You're going to have to come back and let us know how things are going with the company and everything else, or what kind of other advice you can give our entrepreneurs.
Perfect. Appreciate the opportunity.
You got it, brother. With that, Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger is out.